Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truther.org. Today is July 3rd of 2026. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears that CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland is going to stage an escalating series of DEFCON level and earth-changing events targeting the United States or other locations around the world on the date of July 3rd. Or the morning of July 4th, in a blood sacrifice, an esoteric blood sacrifice offered up to the God of Yahweh. So, as you can see in the photo of this video, which is the tetragram of Yahweh, it features the numerology of 777. And the date of July 3rd, 7-3, or 3-7 is 777. So this is a de facto Jewish holiday of Yahweh, which is the highest God in Judaism. And historically speaking, if we look back at just the last 100 years, we can see that on almost every single Jewish holiday, there are blood sacrifices that are offered up to the God of Yahweh. This notion is corroborated by the fact that on the first day of Hanukkah, the CIA staged the Bondi Beach massacre in Sydney, Australia, which was also a blood sacrifice offered up to the Jewish holiday of Hanukkah. And so there is precedent for blood sacrifices taking place on Jewish holidays, 90% of which coincidentally mimic Roman holidays. But that's another story for a different video. So basically today I just want to highlight the most likely scenarios that are going to take place in the next 24 hours. As I stated in a previous video, the CIA is plotting earth-changing events, DEFCON level events in the United States or elsewhere leading up to the July 4th weekend. And they're going to start on Friday, July 3rd of 2026 with one or more of the following events. Number one is a Trump assassination event. So Donald J. Trump is at the Mount Rushmore Memorial in Keystone, South Dakota. He is slated to give a speech this evening, and then he will board the brand new Boeing 747 of Air Force One, which was gifted to the United States by the government of Qatar. And this will coincidentally be the fourth flight of this Boeing 747 carrying U.S. President Donald J. Trump. And of course, the number 4 is a cross, which is found on the flag of Switzerland. And so I'm just going to state it here on July 3rd of 2026 that Donald J. Trump will not land safely at Joint Base Andrews in Frederick County, Maryland on the morning of July 4th because Air Force One will be targeted while en route from South Dakota to the Washington, D.C. area. Although a bombing or a force majeure, an act of God, or a weather-related phenomenon is possible, there's a high likelihood that the CIA will claim that China targeted the brand new Air Force One with some sort of directed energy weapon-related event. Coincidentally, the European Commissioner, President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, was attempting to land a few months ago at Sofi International Airport in Bulgaria when her aircraft was targeted with what they called a Russian jamming weapon. So some sort of foreign attack on Air Force One is expected, possibly under the guise of a directed energy weapon, a laser, or some sort of cyber attack. There's also the possibility that the CIA will detonate an explosive above the United States while Donald J. Trump is en route from South Dakota to Washington, D.C., resulting in the demise of this Air Force One plane. Coincidentally, in the Fox terror series entitled 24, starring Kiefer Sutherland, the President of the United States is airborne over the deserts of California when a nuclear bomb detonates in the deserts of Nevada. And so this notion that the CIA would set off a nuclear or some sort of explosion while Air Force One is airborne has already been foreshadowed and the precedent set in, albeit Hollywood. Secondarily, it's highly likely that given the numerology of 7-3 and 777 and the de facto Jewish holiday of Yahweh, it's highly likely that the Israeli Mossad will engineer some sort of an Islamic terror attack within the United States on the evening of July 3rd, possibly featuring a 9/11 style kamikaze suicide bombing attack, which will likely be CBR in nature, that's chemical, biological, radiological, or nuclear in nature. There's also the high likelihood that the CIA will order Israeli special forces to secure the United States Capitol building, the White House, the United States Supreme Court building, the Pentagon, and or the CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia, under the guise of a domestic or foreign-based storming attack. There's also the possibility that the CIA is going to stage a military offensive by the likes of China, Iran, North Korea, or Russia, most likely featuring the Russian attack on the morning of July 4th, targeting Germany, Poland, or Ukraine. There's also the possibility that Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, Finland, Sweden, Norway, and Denmark could be targeted in this Russian offensive on the morning of July 4th. As previously mentioned, the CIA is plotting a nuclear event on the evening of July 3rd or the morning of July 4th. Coincidentally, I just published a report entitled Operation Candy Cane, which is for a Chinese nuclear ICBM strike targeting multiple locations in London, England. There's also a plot which I uncovered, which is a North Korean satellite vehicle based strike targeting the Crazy Horse Memorial, which is coincidentally located a few miles away from the Mount Rushmore Memorial in South Dakota, where Donald J. Trump is going to be speaking. So basically a nuclear event targeting South Dakota, which would be scapegoated onto the North Korean regime of Kim Jong-un, is also expected. I also uncovered a plot yesterday which is for a nuclear strike targeting Boston Harbor. So there's a realistic situation, or scenario I should say, is which Donald J. Trump is coming in on Air Force One on the morning of July 4th to land at Frederick County, Maryland, Joint Base Andrews, and the CIA detonates a nuclear event targeting Boston, Baltimore, Washington, or New York, which knocks Donald J. Trump's plane out of the air. The CIA is also plotting a biological outbreak. We know this. This is why they're staging the current Ebola outbreak in Africa. And so some sort of smallpox or poxy verde, that's camelpox, smallpox, monkeypox, cowpox, etc., is expected. Also Ebola. The CIA has been desperately trying to stage an outbreak in the United States, Canada, or Mexico during the World Cup so that these visitors return to their respective countries and then the pandemic spreads that way. I've published numerous reports about this, and so obviously bird flu, COVID-26, or any other airborne biological contagion outbreak is expected during the World Cup, and most likely on the date of July 3rd or the date of July 4th. The CIA is also plotting, as previously mentioned, a 9/11 style kamikaze suicide bombing attack. This is basically Islamic terrorism is the bread and butter of the CIA. These are Israeli special forces who always scapegoat Iran and other Islamic terror groups for their actions, and so some sort of mass attack in the United States is expected. I also published a report today entitled Apocalypsis, Volcanic Apocalypsis, which is for a volcanic apocalypse targeting the country of Mexico. That is why one of the reasons why they staged this 7.2 magnitude and 7.5 magnitude man-made earthquake attack targeting the suburbs of Caracas, Venezuela, back on June 24th of 2026 to foreshadow and set the precedent for a secondary event. So a major, what they call the big one, man-made earthquake attack targeting Southern California is expected. This will likely result in the collapse of the continental shelf and the sinking of Los Angeles into the Pacific Ocean. As previously mentioned in my last video, the CIA is also plotting a major political assassination. Basically, what they're trying to do right now is start World War III, so an assassination event targeting a major head of state, such as Donald J. Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin, Chinese President Xi Jinping, North Korean President Kim Jong-un, or Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian is expected. I also should mention that on the date of July 4th, which would be the evening of July 4th in the United States, so the Islamic Republic of Iran is going to be holding a funeral procession, and the entire country is going to be in mourning for the Israeli airstrike assassination of Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, who was killed back on February 28th of 2026. And so what the CIA is planning on doing is, because the United States has delivered 6 Boeing Stratotankers, which basically enable the Israeli Air Force to conduct airstrikes deep inside Iran, Israel is going to attack this parade. This is foreshadowed. The Iranian government came out yesterday or today and stated that they will treat any sort of an attack by Israel on the funeral procession of Khamenei as an act of war. So this is exactly what the CIA is going to do. The Israeli Air Force is going to fly over and bomb the shit out of the entire public over there under the guise of eliminating Iranian generals. Plan B is to stage ISIS-related attacks in Tehran during this particular mourning period, which is going to reportedly last the next 4 days. Coincidentally, that is why the CIA staged two ISIS-related attacks in Tehran, one targeting the mausoleum of Khamenei, the father of the recent Khamenei that died, the original Ayatollah, and they also attacked an Iranian military parade. And this is designed to foreshadow that in the aftermath of this attack, World War III between Iran and Israel is going to ensue. If this happens, Iran is going to unleash every single missile, every single drone in their possession, and according to reports, they have in the tens of thousands. So basically, Israel is going to be on fire, Tel Aviv, Jerusalem, and then of course, Israel will respond with the Samson option, which is to nuke Tehran. And then once Israel nukes Tehran, then Russia or China will nuke Israel, and then the United States will nuke Russia or China, and then we're going to have the mutually assured destruction scenario. There's also, it's 100% certain that in the next 24 hours, the CIA is going to stage anti-Semitic attacks targeting synagogues, Jewish centers, Israeli embassies, Israeli consulates, and Israeli foreign missions, or private NGOs such as ADL or AIPAC in the United States or abroad. They basically, as I've published ad nauseum, the CIA is desperately trying to stage what they call an anti-Semitic virus, that this attack was caused by people that hate Jews, but in reality, it's the Jewish CIA is going to attack themselves and then spawn a second global biological pandemic. Lastly, the CIA is planning on staging a July 4th asteroid attack, likely under the guise of some sort of interstellar comet, three-eye atlas-related phenomenon, possibly targeting the United States or elsewhere, other locations around the world. And I should state for the record that a mass attack is expected during the Argentina versus Cape Verde football game that is going to start in about an hour. And this is starring the biggest soccer star in the world, Lionel Messi of Argentina. And so the CIA is planning to basically stage this event, likely during the live broadcast of this game or the following game, which is Colombia versus Ghana. Essentially, these World Cup games have extremely high viewerships, And as evidenced by the nuclear terror plot, which I exposed in my book entitled The Nuclear Bible, the CIA was planning on staging a 9/11 style nuclear terror event targeting the Super Bowl XLV in Dallas, Texas back on February 6th of 2011. So they know that they like to stage events, earth-changing, apocalyptic events while people are glued to their TV, and that appears to be the case for July 3rd, likely targeting one or more locations around the earth during the live broadcast of Argentina versus Cape Verde or Colombia versus Ghana. Other potential scenarios for the evening of July 3rd include the CIA is planning on staging massive wildfire attacks across the United States under the guise of heat wave induced or fireworks sparked and heat wave induced wildfires. So that basically the CIA is going to unleash NASA satellite directed energy weapon related attacks targeting multiple locations across the United States, and then claim that it was due to fireworks and the current heat wave targeting the United States. So essentially, by the date of July 4th, America's 250th holiday, multiple fires will be burning across the United States. And so that is basically what's on tap for the next 24 hours. And we have to remember that this is a blood sacrifice that is being offered up to the Jewish God of Yahweh, which is the highest God in Judaism. And this notion is corroborated by the fact that not only is Switzerland the first Jewish state, which was founded circa August 1st, 1309, and this is corroborated by the fact that not only was Switzerland home to the first ever Zionist conference, which was held in Basel, Switzerland, in August 28th through the 31st of 1897, I believe. You can Google it, but Switzerland is currently home to the World Jewish Congress, which is the single largest body in the world, political body in the world that nobody ever hears about, and they meet to this day in Basel, Switzerland. And so this is the Swiss CIA, the Jewish CIA in Geneva, Switzerland. These are blood sacrifices offered up to their highest God, the highest God of Judaism, which is Yahweh. I should also mention that Malaysian Airlines flight MH370, so it also has a 777 numerology, is likely going to attack a location, possibly in the United States, most likely in the United States, but possibly elsewhere on the 7-3 numerology. And this will, of course, be blamed on Islamic terrorists that are backed by China, Iran, North Korea, or Russia. So just to recap, some sort of apocalyptic, earth-changing, DEFCON level event is expected in the next 24 hours. And because the date of July 3rd does not officially change until July 4th, until daybreak on the morning of July 4th, of course, for the rest of humanity, we go from July 3rd to July 4th at 12 o'clock midnight, but for the CIA, they go by daybreak. So as soon as the sun comes up on July 4th, that is when this date switches from July 3rd to July 4th. So this Yahweh blood sacrifice could happen in the pre-dawn hours of July 4th. But what we know is that they're going to kill U.S. President Donald J. Trump in some form or fashion, or stage some sort of act of war, foreign attack or invasion, biological outbreak, or nuclear attack, possibly 9/11 style, in the next 24 hours. So if this in fact happens, I would kindly ask that you download this video and share it with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, national, and international media outlets.